Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Cold Steel SR1 Lite. Not only is it lighter in weight, a full ounce, it is also much lighter on your wallet. You're looking at $60 for one of these versus $160 to $210 for the other version of the SR1, which has S35 VN and G10 scales. This is 8CR13 MOV and Grivex. We'll talk more about that as we go along. But it is a big bruiser of a knife for sure. As you can see, these are half-inch scales. You're looking at about 9.4 inches in overall length. It's a big sucker. And I do want to thank Southern Edge Knife Works for getting me one of these so soon. Southern Edge Knife Works, go there to southernedgeknifeworks.com. You can use the code SDSEK at checkout. You get 15% off and free shipping. Not bad at all. But let's talk more about this knife. Yes, the SR1 is a model of Cold Steel's. I have not held the original one, the more expensive one, an S35 VN and G10. I've wanted to for a long time. This is a big beefy sucker. And when it first came out, I really wasn't as into big beefy Cold Steels as I am now, as you'll see when we get to size comparisons and I bring some more out. I have a few now. But when they came out with the light version, I thought, man, I should really check that out. $60, if you're paying by the ounce, you're getting a very good value. Because I said this is the light. The original is 7.3 ounces. This is 6.3, so it's still a bit of a tank. You can see that hugely thick blade stock, 0.19 inches. I'm going through almost all the stats before we get to them, but we'll touch on them again. Yeah, this is a big stonker of a knife. That big beefy Andrew Demko triad lock. This is the clip point version. It does also come in a Tanto. I usually go for the Tanto, but I don't know. I kind of like the way it looks on the SR1 and this clip point, so I went with that one. Pretty simple overall design. You have a very grippy Grivex handle, which excuse me, is kind of, just fancy plastic, but it feels pretty good. Cold Steel does a pretty good job with that. No problem there. Reversible pocket clip. And with the triad lock, this is a completely ambidextrous knife for sure. So let's talk about this knife in more specific ways. We'll do some stats first of all. You have a blade length of dead on 4 inches, overall length of 9.4 inches. As I said, very thick blade stock at 0.19 inches, handle thickness of 0.60 inches, and a weight of 6.3 ounces. Now let's do some size comparisons. We will start out with one of our usual pairs, and then we're going to go into some other stuff, and we'll compare it to a lot of other Cold Steels as this goes on. So we have the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and the Para 3. You're going to be able to see it is much larger than either of those. A couple other larger knives here. One kind of in the same price bracket, one definitely not, but we're going to use them anyway. We have the Ontario Rat Model 1, which I used to consider to be kind of a big knife. I guess not so much anymore. And the Microtech SOCOM Elite. So you can see it's even just a little bit bigger than the SOCOM Elite, a little bit longer. And now let's go on to some Cold Steels. I apologize if you hear some mowers outside. I've been waiting all day for him to get done, and he's just not. So I'm just going to have to deal with it and hope I can edit it out in the post. Let's start out with one of my favorite Cold Steels. We have the Code 4. And we'll put up the Recon 1. This is the Tanto version. So you can see overall length about the same as a Recon 1. But a lot thicker knife. The Recon 1's actually much thinner and lighter than you think it is. The SR1 is not. And then compare it to some big uns from Cold Steel, because they do a great job at big knives, and I have a few of them. We have your Formax Scout, which is also very similar in the fact that it is the same. It's like the budget version of the Formax, where this is the budget version of the SR1. Overall length, it's very similar to a Formax. Very, very similar. And then your 8010, which is in a little bit higher price bracket for Cold Steel. But you can see it's a little bit longer than an 8010. The texture is a bit different. Both these have Grivex scales on the... I just want to touch on this very quickly. And the Formax Scout and the SR1 Lite both have these Grivex scales, but it's a bit... Oop, hit the camera there. Sorry about that. It's a bit more aggressive on the SR1. Not dramatically so, but just a little bit. Just something I noted comparing the two. And you're looking at AUS 10A on the 4MAX Scout versus 8CR on the SR1, which brings us to the blade, the first thing I usually talk about here, because it's the most important part of the knife. Yes, it is 8CR 13 MOV want steel, but it's $60, and there's a lot of it. And I'm not going to complain too much, primarily because I always have to hand it to Cold Steel. Their heat treat is always amazing. And yes, this is only 8CR 13 MOV, which I don't usually love seeing, even at this price bracket, but like I said, there's a lot of it involved here. But their heat treat is so good. I haven't had a chance to really put this through like hardcore cutting tests or anything, but you can probably pretty much bet it's about the best 8CR 13 MOV out there, because that's just their usual track record. They do an amazing job with fairly inexpensive steels. I can't see any reason to think this is going to be any different. That said, I love the blade shape. It is really nice. It is very thick. 0.19 inch blade stock. I know we keep saying it, but it's a very, very important thing to remember. And it's 35 thousandths behind the edge. Is this an amazing slicer? No, it isn't. Is it going to be great just for chopping and beating the hell out of stuff? Yes. Yes, it is. I mean, look at the tip on that sucker. Stab that through a car door. And triad lock, you don't have to worry about that failing. It's the toughest lock in the industry. They claim that. I haven't seen any reason to doubt it. So it is a big chopper of a blade, and it isn't the most impressive steel in the world, but for the price, really don't have a problem with it. Ergonomics, really good. I don't like the look of these Cold Steel pocket clips, but I haven't had any of them that really cause me a huge hot spot or anything. They are very comfortable in your hand. You can choke up on it for sure. There's no really pronounced choil to stop your finger from sliding forward, so remember that, but you can choke up on it. I think most people are going to use it in a normal kind of saber grip, and it works very well for that. That big thick blade is a really nice place to put your hand, or put your thumb, I mean. It's just, I really do enjoy it in my hand. It is very comfortable, and it is grippy as the day is long. This thing ain't going to come out of your hand unless you're just doing something really, really silly. I do love the ergos on this quite a bit, a lot more than I thought. I wouldn't mind if this texture was more like the 4MAX, but a lot of people are going to like that it's a heavier duty grip. This is a knife that's probably going to be used as someone's really hardcore work knife, beater knife, and it is outstanding for that. If you're working on a construction site or something, you're going to want all the grip you have. You may have gloves on or something like that. You want all the grip you want, and it will work great for that. For EDC stuff, it's maybe a tiny bit aggressive, but not dramatically so. As far as the carry goes, bring out EO Levi's now. EO Levi's Mark 1. I'm sure I'm going to wear these out fairly soon too. As far as the carry goes, that grippiness, you do pay a price. It is a bit of an effort to get in the pocket. It's not horrid, but it isn't amazing. Weight 6.3 ounces again. Not ridiculous, but light. I think they're referring more to the price than the weight. There is no flipper tab. It is not that thick. 0.6 inch handle is not that crazy thick. It is easy enough to carry. You can get your hand past it, all that stuff. It carries fine. It is going to be a bit of a pocket destroyer, but that's very easy to fix. I did it on my Recon 1. I've done it on other Cold Steels in the past. Just take the pocket clip off. You tape off where this lands. Take the pocket clip off. Sand down that Grivex where the pocket clip touches, so there's a smooth spot. Makes a world of difference getting in and out of your pocket. Highly recommend you do it. Takes 10 minutes and some sandpaper, or better yet, if you have one, a Dremel or something like that. And it does make a huge difference in the way the knife carries. And I may do that on this one because, spoiler, I might keep this one around. I think I might keep it around. We'll get to why at the end. As far as the action goes, just as good as any Cold Steel, expensive, inexpensive, whatever. It's very smooth. It does have enough of a gap here. Some Cold Steels can be a bit of a guillotine, and I probably still have scars on my finger to indicate that. Yeah, it's one right there I know was a Cold Steel that bit me. When you let that triad lock go, when it goes, it goes. But as long as you keep your finger up high, you can one-hand close it pretty easy. It is very smooth. And it's not going to bite you, but just make sure you got your finger all the way up there. A lot of Cold Steel fans say they're two-hand closed knives. Well, you can one-hand close most of them, but not all of them. As far as opening it, as I fail it right there, try again. As far as opening it, yeah, tiniest little bit of wrist. It's got that really cool Cold Steel bang. But it feels just as nice as the expensive ones. Like here, we'll pull out the 8010. It's that same kind of thing. I just love the feel of the Triad lock. You got to give them a tiny little bit of wrist, but they have that good solid bang when they open. It feels very smooth. I've not taken this one apart or anything. It's very smooth out of the box. I really do like it a whole lot as far as the action goes, and I like the knife overall a whole lot. Yes, the 8CR13. I wish it was AUS 10A like you have on the Pro Lite, which I actually do have that available here too, or on the 4Max. I do wish it was the AUS 10A because this is performing very well for me. I carry this Airlay all the time, and I did carry the 4Max quite a bit as well, and it's performing excellently. I do kind of wish it had the AUS 10A, but I think it would be significantly more expensive because there's a lot of steel in there. You look at the 4Max Scout. This is $120. This is literally half the price of that. So I think if they'd have put the AUS 10A in there, the SR1 would have been, I think you'd have been looking at about $100. And then you're looking at the quote unquote real one, with S35 VN and G10 is $160. I can see why they made the choice. And again, I have no empirical evidence to back this up, but I have faith in Cold Steel. They do such a good job on the heat treats. I'm imagining this is really, really good 8CR13. And 8CR13 is pretty easy to sharpen. They did provide a very good sharpening choil on there. There's no problem to sharpening. You can remove the thumb stud. If you're worried about the thumb stud getting in the way for sharpening, you can take it off. So I do enjoy that they did that. It's going to be easy to sharpen up and keep sharp. I don't have as big a problem with the 8CR as I thought I would. I know that Jimmy Slash, if you go over to his channel, I'll try to remember to link down below. He beat the snot out of one of these things. It held up completely fine. It performed way better than 8CR should. So that's the only evidence I have to back me up. But Jimmy Slash is not nice to his knives, and he has a lot of Cold Steels, and it held up really, really well. So I recommend this. If you just want a big burly beater, like I said, this I alluded to earlier, this would just be a great knife for like a construction worker or somebody like that. That's just the kind of person that comes to mind for this. $60. If you somehow manage to break it, as I've said before about Cold Steels, if you manage to break a Cold Steel, you probably have infinitely more important things to worry about at that moment. But if you do manage to break it, it was $60. If you lose it, it was $60. And I think it's still going to perform well. It's not going to be a great slicer. You're not going to be, wanting to go out and, slice paper with it all day long. But it'll still slice cardboard, all that stuff fine, and as far as really hardcore uses, if you got to chop into some wood or do something truly stupid, if you do want to pry on something, which I always say don't ever do that, but you have a nice thick tip to do it with. Yeah, this is just a consummate beater, I think is what I would describe this knife as. I may even put it in the title. This is the consummate beater, maybe the ultimate beater I've seen so far this year at least. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.